Okay. Start that. There we go. Okay. Welcome. Let's see. Okay. Just make sure everything's on. You hear me all good? Turn that down a little. Okay. Yeah, it's just really awkward because like I'm so not good at like starting things, and then um, now I can't hear the ocean sound for whatever reason. Like it's not pumping into my ears, but I think you can hear it. I see it in the audiograph thing. Yeah, but welcome, White Flammation. That's getting a little tricky to always remember, but getting there. How have you been? How's everyone else doing? It's been a very eventful week for me, I suppose for you too, with the academic studies. Yeah. It's been so eventful that I feel like I can feel the entire stream of just saying and explaining what I did this week. So, instead of that, we're gonna welcome Judd. How you doing? And then I think I'll just kind of sporadically talk about what happened this week. But yeah, I had my first semi-official, real, almost full week of school of college, video game college. I'm in the art and animation degree, so it was so nice. After doing like 3 years of like trophy engraving and just doing text inside boxes, it was so nice to be able to have what is it? Having assignments and like in-class work where we're like studying like art and drawing things, and then on Friday I had an actual animation class, and I was like, oh my, like what? You could just do that? Welcome, Cookie. I had my first week of college, and yeah, it was just like, wait a minute, like my first community college that I did like 10 years ago was like, um, it had art, but it was kind of like more about being a freelancer, I think was like the main goal. Um, where it's like, well, we'll teach you, art skills to like kind of get kind of okay, kind of passable, just for a little bit. And then we're going to focus the entire rest of the degree part to be about the how to be a freelancer, which was honestly good. But for me to be like, oh, okay, kind of wanted to learn how to, draw or animate or anything else. That would have been a little better. Let's get to scoop this up so that the captions were a little bit off there. There we go. Bleh. Let's start music so I can hear now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, it was like, okay, class, for your animation class, let's, install TV Paint. And then we're gonna do, we have to, it's like the law. You have to, do the bouncing ball. So we did that, and I think we have to do a little bit more of a couple more trials of that, doing more stuff like that to be like, oh, that's a tennis ball, now it's a bowling ball. How does the bouncing ball behave in that? What kind of arcs and timings and spacings, and that's what the basics of it is. That the animation of the bouncing ball shows and demonstrates that spacing and timing, positions, squash and stretch. You can do all the 12 principles of animation just from a ball perspective. Cube drawings, couple interesting little projects here and there, like try and make a portrait with only one color or trying to do it with complementary colors or tertiary colors, you know, stuff like that. And it's like, okay, cool. And then that was it. That's as advanced as it got. And then it's like swapped into like career mode, basically, of like, okay, now you got to make your portfolio. Now you got to make your resume. Here's how to sell yourself. Here's how to make a website. Here's how to learn. Literally, let's have an entire class about learning HTML and CSS. And I was like, whoa, okay. And then just kind of all the art stuff, which is like pushed under the rug with the old college. I was like, oh, I see the value, but also like, how am I gonna actually do well at a job if, you know, I've only got like a couple months worth of art? And then no animation at all, really. We had like one storyboard class and one After Effects class, but they were like on quarters, so I was only like a couple weeks, really, at most. So, I mean, you could spend a couple years learning After Effects and not learn everything, you know, but to be like, here's After Effects for like crash course, you know, edits and filters and stuff, and I'm sure you'd be okay if you have a job in After Effects editor after learning After Effects for 2 weeks, basically, it felt like. Oh boy. Anyway, yeah, I'm live here. Let's see, did she move? Look at her go. Let's see. Get back to here. Oh, we got. Waiting for the last part. This will be the penultimate part, is what I'm working on now. Because I was going to plan on having it be the last chapter be essentially twice as long. And so now I'm working on the next 2 minutes of here. You can see how long this goes on for. I'm just scrolling in timeline at the bottom here. Slightly laggy. Hopefully we'll be fine. I have Blender open as well, the 3D program, so it's probably using all my computer parts. Yeah, this goes for about 90 seconds just for the animatic and very, very basic animatic and storyboard that I've already set up. So 90 seconds, about a minute and a half. So I'm guessing this might be around closer to 2 minutes pushing it. And then if I do the intro and credits, that'll also add like 15 seconds or so. So yeah, this will be pretty long. And now I gotta deal with homework now, so now my time's slightly more limited, but not too bad right now. We have a bunch of like little tiny tasks that the college is like, hey, you know, we're not we changed since world event. We don't do attendance as official anymore, so we're just kind of do this census thing instead. So you go onto a website and has all the classes and dashboard for all the classes, and it's like, hey, you know, do this little, turn in something per class, and then we'll know that you actually took, you know, you're actively participating in the class, basically. But it's weird because it's still online, so it's like I can do that whenever I want. So it's like I don't have to go to the class. And if I just happen to miss one, then they'll say like, oh, then I guess you're not participating in the class, even though you turned everything else in. But not the census, which means that that's the only one that matters. So if you don't do the census little activity, then the college has the right to drop you off the class and like take you off and be like, yeah, you're not participating. And it's like, wait, what? So yeah, you can do all your tests, you know, you can do your assignments and tests and stuff, but if you don't do the census, then we don't think you're participating. It's like the one thing the whole, you know, government side, I guess, or the actual academic board, you know, has that kind of rules or whatever about it. So anyway, so I'm trying to make sure that I've caught up on that. But yeah, let's see. What else? Maybe like the tennis ball in Gen 5? Was that just that one joke where they were trying to suppress Izzy's unicorn when he went to the Pegasus world? Oh, that is funny. I think I put it in one of my animations or something. Yeah. Yeah, that was a cute gag. I don't know much more to say to that. You're a fan? Alrighty. Yeah. It's been so long. That was like, it feels like 6 years ago, but I think it was only 5 years ago. 5 or 6 years ago was the movie. Jeez. And we still haven't had any further news on the Gen 6 live action movie, right? No one's come out and said, like, oh, we're gonna do it in this way, or casting, or any kind of any production-y parts of it. So that'd be interesting. Oh boy. Yeah, there's a tentatively, I'm calling it just a Gen 6 live action movie. That's been announced by Hasbro. But that's as far as I got. I was like, we're gonna make a movie with live action humans, horses, who knows? That it was just like just something to say, hey, we're doing it. Tune in later for when we decide if we're gonna do live action horses or humans or who knows. Like, is it supposed to be Equestria Girls and it's like live action of something like that, or is it live action horses? That's probably gonna be Odo's CG animals from the '90s movies, where it's just CG mouths on top of live action plates or something of animals. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah, I can try and I don't know if I can find anything of it, but yeah. MLP live action movie announced. Let's see how many ads are on here before I pull it up. What can we expect? Who knows? Amazon MGM Studios. The beloved world of MLP is set to expand like never before. Amazon MGM Studios and Hasbro Entertainment officially developed the first ever MLP live action movie. Yeah. What about the series? Yeah. When they split the series into like 2 series, that's where it's like I wasn't able to catch up or like really care about either of them. So I was like, I was just equally like force myself to kind of watch it, and then I was like, I'm gonna drop this. This isn't. The quality of each of them were like so not great that I was like, ah. Let's see. The details surrounding the upcoming film are still under wraps. When was this posted? This was posted in July. Okay. Jeez. Excitement. It'll be a shift for animated. Expectations are high for a visually stunning and emotionally resonant adaptation that stays true to the franchise's core themes of friendship, self-acceptance, and kindness. Yeah, they're just trying to fill up the word count. Because they don't got nothing. They just they just said, I guess we'll make it. That's it. Yeah, production timelines and confirmed release date have yet to be announced. So not yet. Industry analysts expect updates within the next year. Early development. Plot details and first looks from the film set. Whoa. Because it was that utter leak, potentially fake leak about like the Gen 6 where it had like the Twilight Sparkle and Sunny being in like a summer camp or something. And I guess that was fake or something. I don't know. Because now they're doing it, whatever this is. Worried about the MLP. Yeah, well, I mean, the fandom can't get much worse than what it is now. Honestly, the fandom is in a dire condition right now. I'm gonna move on to Blender just to show. See if I can, because there is a couple 3D shots I want to work on. I think. This is from the previous chapter, but I just wanted to show how that 2D animation then gets put into just a solid shape here. This is Blender, so slightly laggy, but we're fine. So I took that 2D animation that you saw and then put it onto, essentially put it like a sticker onto this plane, and then it then just goes through every frame of that animation and then just kind of goes through it and then animates it with a PNG sequence. So it's still a flat plane, but by like kind of moving the plane around and then kind of adjusting things, you can animate it in a 3D set. So I made this whole set. Made everything, I think. I'm really proud of just so much work. And it's still not done. There's still some assets here and there. I can turn off some of these bits there. Still not quite done. There's this whole... That looks pretty good. I think I finished that. I think those are good. I think these plates don't have textures yet. And then I got these table stools. I'm gonna have some characters sit on here. So this is like a big dining room. So this is a reveal of what she's looking at, is that she's gonna look at this dining room with all these all the snakes here, and then the queen will sit up here. So we go back to the animatic, or animation basically. Yeah. We have the dining hall, and then the snake queen will be here. And all the other snakes will be eating. So, yeah, I hope my movie's gonna be better received than the live action if it turns out kind of not great. Welcome, Eric. How you doing? No, it's a little complicated what's going on with all the puppet characters on top, but they managed to steal the diamond back. Let's see. I had a show in 2017 if it's okay to ask what year. Applique fan? 2011. Like right at the start of the year, I think, like around February or so. January, February 2011, I think. I watched, I think the second episode. I watched Friendship is Magic Part 2 as my first episode. And then, yeah, I think I watched some of the other mid-season stuff, like, what was the one where it was the backstory ones, where it's like, Rainbow Dash got the cutie mark for doing a Sonic Rainbow movement, and Pinkie Pie was like, wow, cool, colors are cool. So, I think I watched one of those, and Call It Cutie and all of those, and the first like Apple Bloom story. Yeah. So I got hooked on like the second episode because like, what is going on? I was more like, what? Who are these characters? They didn't introduce any of them to me. I don't know. And who's that fog, purple smog who's trying to ruin their day? Yeah. I just played through the animatic. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get something rolling here. Just for the context of that, I want to animate a couple of the... They successfully steal the diamond back, and then all of the magic, that big green magic ball, will then shrink back. And so, I have like a raft, I think in another, yeah, this is separate. Turns out I don't put the entire world inside of one file, especially inside of Blender. So it's just this with the dining hall, and then a hallway. Just so I can have the inside there to look like that. So here's the hallway. And then there's Derpy. So in other files, I have the other parts of the world, like the outside world. Flash. So I did animate a couple things just because I thought chapter 7 would be huge. Would be a longer chapter. So I did start animating a couple of these. So we get on this shot. So inside of Flash, I have a bunch of shots, and then I can go into each shot, and then I have all the assets for that particular shot. So I have the storyboard, animatic, and I got the character right next to each other, so I can just kind of go ahead and get that set up. And then, because I know that I'll just be importing this into Blender, so I don't really care about too much of perfection, I guess, inside of here. Too much. Looks like this is his own thing that has his own animation. The little coin spewing out. Okay. Okay. I'll let you animate your movie. I'll see you around. Thank you for hanging out. I'll hope to see you again soon then. Thank you. In your opinion, is Derpy still doing her job in this day? Like, today? I think so. Yeah, probably something like that Minty Root Derpy video reminded of that, where she's doing like all the mailing and doing very important deliveries. Like getting the mail to Celestia. That was really great. The Project Moonbow or something. So that's the character. Kind of probably want it to be, that's the default. I don't know if it really, to me, I don't know if I really sold that this is a different hat from this hat, but oh well. Like I wanted it to be like some rich hat, and then it's like a top hat, and then it's like a more like those Victorian kind of like paper sir kind of hats or something, like little boys trying to sell the newspaper. Okay, so I can kind of show the progress of this one because I'm gonna work on the next one, I think. So I just want to show the process of what that's already kind of done. You can kind of see it. So this is 811, but I think it's a different shot in this one. So we'll probably be seeing a lot of this. So sorry. Got this bubble blur I have to. So I'm going to be switching files real quick. Let's see. Otherwise it shows a lot of other files I got, and it's like I don't want to show those quite yet for you. So let's see. But how you guys doing? Let's see, 725 is now going to be 811. I have IDs for every shot. I mean, I made the entire story all at once, where I made the entire story front to back, and then I split it up into chapters, and then I said like, okay, well now this file now, or this particular shot now has a new ID, and then that ID now becomes the number. So here's a 360 of that, and then I'll put you down, and then put you down. So what it looks like from the camera is this. So you get that nice widescreen. I'll just kind of go through it frame by frame here. I want to fix that. The clouds. And then here's that animation. And so it's actually moving in 3D because I wanted it to have the character kind of spin around and going like a toilet kind of, and then coins fall out. And then he's like, uh-oh. And then that's it for the shot. I try and play it, but it's kind of still laggy. Yay. So, obviously all of this was kind of made with all this huge, this was fun. Making this entire, I think I've shown this a bunch too, where it just made the entire 360 of the Snake Village. This took forever to model and design and make everything. I had a lot of fun making it, so glad I can still use it for multiple, using this for multiple shots and making sure that it works at a 360 also does help a lot. So I could just put my camera wherever I need and not worry about like, oh no, it's you know, only works from one angle basically. So making it so it's good enough from multiple of them. I'm gonna have to turn something down here. My mouse isn't. Yeah. But let's move on to the next shot then. Just wanted to show what that looked like. Open, don't save. Next one. 26. Boop 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 ba doo. Okay. So this is next shot. I should show what the 2D version is. So the 2D has the boop. That's it. So we have the I'm trying to I was like trying to explain like what these characters are, but I don't know. There's just like these little gags that are just like trying to fill out the world, kind of be to kind of say like what is the snake kind of world, kind of kind of characters and how they live. So let's see. So when they lose the magic, then all the houses like become like dilapidated and like kind of falling apart. And so the door just like falls, which is a reference back to like the chapter 7, I think. If I go back to here, let's see. Actually, it's chapter 6, so that won't be in here. But in that one, like the door was down, and then the magic zooped, and then the door went back up. So now we're just reversing it. Where now it's like, oh man, my door fell. So I will need this character, which I don't think I actually have. Right here. So I will need chapter 6 then. So let's get that. Let's open a new file. Let's see what that is. Unless 7 has it, which I don't think it would because it's not part of that. So hang on. Everything's organized, so I think it's about, hopefully, that's 1. It's good to be very, very organized, or at least in an organized way that you could just say, like, I need chapter 6 file. Okay. You know, as long as it's named something very, very distinct of, like, because mine's literally just called chapter 6 Annie for animation, because I also have a file for, you know, each chapter's 3D textures, so I have a separate file for that as well. This file's probably going to take a little while to load. There we go. Okay. Okay. So here's chapter 6, which is in the middle of the whole scene here for some reason. Let's get into that. So we get the Queen gets the magic, and then that's the magic ball, and that explodes out. And he's like, wow, the door works. And here's the other guy. Okay, so I wanted the other shot, this shot. It's saving. Okay. That scared me. So that's that. That's the animatic. There's a character. So what I'll need is to kind of get this guy. Showing library. So I have Farmer Mill. So I have him as the general one. In one shot. And then in the other shot. And then this shot. This starts out with him not being on there. So I made a dummy. And then he does his animation. So I could start with, because I think I'm gonna have him kind of like show up kind of like this, but then I can modify this, I think. So instead of having him be happy, we're gonna have him be sad, I think. Here's the general. What's this one? Is this a walk? Oh yeah, remember he walks into the house. I don't know why. He could have just stayed in the house. We wanted to kind of show that he's kind of just walking into the house and then grabs the door. And then he actually grabs the door and then flips around and then walks in and puts the door down and then walks. Let's see if I can find that shot. Yeah. That's way, way earlier. Yeah, and then she like looks at the beginning. Yeah, here it is. Just grabs the door, flips around, and then puts the door back on. Like the door is not, you know, actually bolts it on or whatever. It's like, I was about to deal with this. Okay. I love all my stupid gags like that. Yeah, they're great. I want to add more. I feel like I actually added a whole bunch more, like, not really in rewrites, but just kind of like gag ups. I don't know what to call them. Where it's like, my original storyboards were pretty flat. I don't know where we are. This is my original draft of the storyboards. Deciding on comps. This is a very early version. A comedy pass. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I actually skipped that whole part then. I don't think I added those other whole sections of the other snake characters. Because I don't see that as a shot. Yeah, so I think I added like, I don't know how much percentage or how many more shots I added, or like little gags. I'm reminded of like in Snow White where they, let's see, like the original like story and storyboards for like Snow White with the dwarves was pretty dry, and the animators would like get into competitions of like, oh well, I'll just add a gag in or something, like, can I add this in or something? And then they would get like paid like an extra nickel or something to be like, ooh, okay, here you got a real gag and you got it in the movie. Here's your little pay for getting it in. And they're like, okay, you know, it started like this whole game of like, okay, I gotta get this gag in. What can I do? Oh, what can I have Sleepy do? You know. So I think of like that, and it's like, okay, what can I do to like do something to like add something to make it more funny? I feel like I feel like this is good enough. I think this is. Sometimes you don't want to like punch it up so much that then, you know, it becomes a comedy. I'm sorry, I'm just going through all my files. Because I want to find. I want to also make sure I don't have this character in the scene. No, I got that one, but not this one. Okay. Make sure. Okay, so in this one, we're going to 6 this guy, pop them in, just drag them in from a separate file. There he is. Ah, ah. Oh, it's taking a while to save. Okay. So now I can use this as my starting point, I guess. And I got the 3D set to kind of figure out how this will work. My mouse not moving. Okay. My mouse is not moving. So I have two different versions. Yeah, I have everything ruined and then everything reformed. So it looks like this is that one. What does that look like? Okay. Let me know if the stream starts lagging too. So that's the reformed. So this is the good ending, and this is the bad ending. Yeah. You can look at a sad mailbox here. Yeah. So, and the good ending is the mailbox is upright. So, I made a duplicate when I made the good version first, based everything on that. I made a good ending version of everything, and then I duplicated everything that I wanted to change, and then modified that duplicate version to make it bad. So it was really fun to like destroy things, because that was easier to like warp and destroy things than trying to take a destroyed one and then trying to make them into clean angles and such. So yeah. But for now, I think I want to go into like, I don't know if wireframe is gonna be good. Is that helpful? You can see what's going on. Okay. Let's see. I think I want to just like take this other one off and just try it. Yeah, my mouse is. I think my mouse is just not having enough battery here. I changed my battery, but I think this battery is also wrong. Let's swap it out real quick here. If I can open the thing. I have like 3 batteries, so maybe one of these will work. Always good to have them on hand. How you guys doing? As I'm literally just swapping my batteries and my mouse. Oh, there we go. I think they have like enough juice for like 10 minutes, and then they'll die. Okay. Purple. Oh. Oh, that's worse. Oh. Where am I? Whoa. Okay. Here's literally everything. Okay. So I have these as everything that's a separate color is a separate object. So I got the door, and I think I already animated everything here with the door falling. So I think all I have to do is just animate the snake character. And then I think all he does is just kind of pops his head out at the end. And then like has a grunt, like sad gruntle, like ugh, come on kind of face. So what's gonna happen is that the magic ball, the magic ball here shrinks over time, and then from the camera perspective, it's like it's gone. And so over time, there'll be a frame of it being good. So it'll start good, and then the ball will go whoosh, whoosh. And then the ball will then change it to be bad. And then he's like, and then the door will fall, and he'll kind of poke his head out. Noticing that he's seeable there, so I'm wondering, yeah, let me just act this out. So he could be like, do 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 do. Oh. Do 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 do. Oh. And then it can just kind of go like, oh, like look down and be like, yeah, something like that. So that would mean kind of put them here. Blender has certain ways of doing keyframes. Let's see. Yeah. I like making these kind of characters. These kind of like bit characters are really fun. Let's see. Charge 7, shot say 26. Okay. Apparently I have shape keys for what? The farmer? How do I have shape keys for the farmer? What do they mean are these keys? Hang on. What do these keys do? Ah. Oh. I can do that. It's been a while. I haven't seen this file in a while. Apparently I have shape keys in the Blender for this particular object to be able to squish them one way or the other. Why do I have that? Just so I can do this. Okay. Go back inside. Okay. So, yeah, we're gonna do the kind of like walk up, maybe kind of like. I feel like that's gonna take a long time of a shot, but I guess it's still worth it. This shot might be a little longer. That's closer to like 5 seconds, but whatever. Expect the ball, and then I need the door to drop. That's already like 2 seconds in. And then, yeah, we'll start about 2 seconds in, and then have him kind of like walk for like half second, and then, where's farmer? So about here, can I mark this frame? Okay. So this is about when he will start to be here, and then kind of like walk into position. Obviously the frame of him here will be different. You'll just kind of walk and then kind of then look at it, and then let's see. Let's put a X rotation. So I'll just kind of go, and then another X. This is just for my own kind of blocking out. Gonna copy this, paste it, and then I can grab these. It's a little easier to like kind of block things out in here, and then I can go through and just use these as my kind of like key points. So there's a lot of like obviously back and forth with a lot of this, where it's like I could, you know, either animate it fully and animate, bring it into here, put it as a sticker on top of the plane of the object, and then hope that it works. Or, you know, you can start playing around with it inside Blender, trying to get the 3D math and spacing inside of here, the timing, and then use those as your kind of like stuck, fixed key points, timings, and decide like whether or not these timings work, or if I need to kind of move some of these things here. Sometimes slower, sometimes better. I feel like it has a, let's go linear timing. Actually, I want it to like ease out. For that, I can select these two keyframes, find them in here. So if I set this to be a Bezier, Actually, what's happening is that we're changing which way? What kind of direction? I think it's X. What did I move it on? So let's go X location will be these guys. Sorry, this is just getting a little more complicated. Scale this down. Scale this up. We'll then make it slower. Like it's gonna go whoop and then kind of. Now we go back to that X rotation. So that's Euler, X, Euler rotation. Show me those with these keyframes. So that's these guys. So that's when it goes up. Slow out. And then a little bit faster. And then maybe grab this. So it's more like a hello. Yeah. So once I decide that that kind of works pretty well, and about 100 frames for this shot works actually pretty well, actually. Let's kind of move things to 2 frames later. And I can have him kind of start actually walking. Because it actually has to be on this frame, yeah. Okay. Okay. I know that this is fun to look at, but this is kind of how it goes, where I can spend hours, you know, trying to fiddle with this until it's like, yeah, I guess it's fine, and then, all right, whatever. Yeah, this is why it takes forever to do this. Okay. Yeah, it takes forever because it's like, well, I guess that's good, and then it's like you go back to Animate or the 2D mode, animate this out, put it in here, and then look at it and be like, oh, that stinks, you know. What if this was slower? What if this was animated different? And it's like, ah, that doesn't work. Let me go back to 2D and like reanimate it and bring it back in, and then be like, ah, that's pretty good. How about 1 frame or maybe 2 frames? No. Sort of like trying to direct it a little bit too hard and be like, oh, that doesn't work. But I usually would probably put this on a different monitor, just so I can like refer to this more easily. Otherwise, it's gonna be a lot of back and forth. So here we go. I want to add like maybe like 4 more frames, just so that there's enough. Just that 1 little second, maybe like 2 frames. So you really like get that. If it's a joke, you want to like make sure that there's enough headroom where you have enough time for an audience to laugh, but obviously not too long, because your jokes aren't that funny. Your jokes will never be that funny, so like having just like that. So his joke kind of like ends here, where it's just like looking at the door that's down. So having just that little bit of like too long can then kind of seem presumptuous to be like, oh no, you really got an entire crowd audience to be like laughing at it for like a minute. Okay. Numbers, I have to remember a lot of numbers. Okay. So I'm noticing that my timing here is also a little bit off. So I think there. Well, I know the shot's gonna end at 100, so we'll move this over. So I'm adding time into the shot here. I have this little marker anchor here, just to say like a sync. It's just so I know when the shot will end. And that's just that doesn't have any programming or any kind of like code or anything. It's more like a visual just for me to be like, it's just so I can see like, okay, here's where the shot ends, kind of thing. So I would be going back and forth now between Blender to see if this door fall at 30 or so is right. Yes, door fall and end around 42. So there's a lot of numbers. Door fall around 42. So I could put like markers into this one to say door still on the ground. Does that at least help me with timing things out? It's a pretty simple scene, but it's like I just want to make sure that I get everything kind of timed out right. So we'll do this. So that's around 19. So that's about right with that. So 19 is magic ball juged small. Okay. And then so I know when a door is still on the ground. So then we added that at 48. We want snake now to be, we want farmer now to be walking, and then if you get all this timed out now, then it's a little easier to then just kind of use these as your markers. So 72 stop walk. So it takes a whole second to then stop walk, and then I can animate the rest of it from there. Okay. So I have the animatic where so I have this drawing of him coming out here, but that's not the right timing now, as now we want it to be more like here is when he actually does. So here's up, and then here's where this starts. So I can complete the animatic in a different timing here. So we'll just kind of have him placed here with his cute little hat. Don't actually have to fill this out, but at least it's just kind of like showing the process of it. And then it'll actually kind of get up to here. So it's actually kind of gone here as he doot, 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 and then looks down. Doot, doot, doot. Looks down a door. Looks down a door. And then we got the timing of this. So around 84. Actually a little later. This is where he kind of like looks up. A little anticipation to be like, huh? Oh. looks down, and then back up again, but now with a hello. Welcome, Cyril. Oh, here we go. Okay, so now I can tell like this is a little bit faster with the playback, so I can see like maybe the timing's a little fast. But I can try and edit things as I go. Especially, the problem is that I'm usually too fast with my animatics, but I think that's just because it's... I usually make my animatics too fast just because I feel like I can get through at least the timing of things, because I feel like I can get through a lot of information quickly, but then I forget like I need to do the animation parts of the in-betweens, the little kind of like pauses. I need times for the blinks to happen, you know? Maybe the blink's longer than I thought, or like had to have a little bit more slow down for the character to actually perform. Here's my neck layer. So we can honestly put you anywhere on the screen here. Because what's going to happen is that I'm going to import this internal animation, basically, where I could just say, hey, make this into a PNG sequence, and then I literally have like a couple hundred files that then I can bring that into Blender. But for now, I think I want to just make sure that this is a duplicate from, yeah, the 626 version. So now this is 812 version, or chapter 8, shot 12. And then now, what I can do is copy paste my timing chart from this. And now I have all my timings. And so if I need to animate things differently, let's see. So we don't even see them until here. Let's get rid of my other timing chart for my other scene. And so now this is where the sync kind of helps. Because now I'm like, okay, the end of this shot is here. But if I want a little bit of extra room, then I can go to the end of it or something and like add a couple more frames or something else. So, let's see. I'm just going to flip them at the beginning of the shot. Whoa, where'd it go? Oh, I didn't flip them, I deleted them. There you go. Hat wiggle? Why hat wiggle? Why did I animate the hat wiggle? I'm also noticing what's inside of here. This is the head. It has all these keyframes. I could try and use this, or let's see. What kind of angle pillows I need? So probably be upright. How does that look? That does look weird. Because I think in the original, in the original chapter 6 shot, might have had them like closer to here or something. Made them a little lower. That's what I have them now. So I probably could just kind of be more. I wonder what would work. So I could have it be either in the more upright, so maybe something in the middle, then between these two. So, okay. I think I have the, I don't have a generic pose at the end, but that's fine. So what's gonna happen is I still need a lot of time before he even walks. So I still have my dummy one until here. And I think I'm gonna use this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete everything else. Go back to my sync, and then I probably just can recreate this easier. So instead, I think I'm gonna swap it to be, if I could find a head, farm head, oh, farm male head. Just my heads. Okay. So instead, I could just reuse this head. It's probably would be a little different from how I would actually do it. So I think I would just kind of take this one and then spend the time trying to find where it is. Maybe it's in here. Who knows? Is it in here? Not really. Is it a duplicate? Honestly, this is the only one I'm going to be using for this whole scene, so maybe I can just get away with using this one. This is literally every symbol I got in here. Here's that. Where's his head? Is it a duplicate? And drew all the derpies. Nice. Should be there, right? Here's the head. That doesn't have that what I want. Here's all the parts of the head. Oh, is this it? Bonk. Yay. Okay, so we can go delete that. And I think the hat has 2 parts. Yeah, so I got the good ending and the bad ending hat. So what's gonna happen is he'll only be seen when it's a bad hat. So, okay. But this is the generic one, so I gotta duplicate it into being the new shot ID number. You can tell, like, all of this that I did just now is a little easier in Toon Boom, where you don't have to worry about individual symbols and individual, like, I gotta duplicate it, I gotta make a copy of this. Toon Boom doesn't have any of that. So, it's good and bad, where it's like, oh, I want a specific, you know, eye blinks. I have, like, an eye blink symbol, and then that has its own timeline, and so I could just have that literally just go on loop, and then his eyes just blink over time, consistently. So that's nice, but otherwise it's like, oh. It's not really that great. So I can take everything, unselect the head, and then see. I can kind of get away with some of these angles here. So I got this and this as an angle. I want to move this up a little bit. So you can see it's pretty nice and pretty simple. Once you kind of, obviously it took forever to like set this whole puppet up and get everything ready like this, but once it is, it's like, oh, nice. Then it's just like trying to get the poses you want and then get this all good. So what I can do is maybe just add a couple simple tweens where kind of take everything and just kind of want to turn off magnet. If I have magnet on, this magnet on, for whatever reason, it's like wants to lock into a certain position. See, like it locked into beep. But I want it to be like one position in between these two sometimes. And it's like locking into like those. So you have to remember that I gotta turn magnet off. And then I can move it slightly in much more pixely perfect ones. Which again in Toon Boom is not a problem, but it's all you know. All these little things like that just kind of add up over time. Where it's like, oh yeah, did I remember to like put this on? Is this tool on? What? Oh, what's going on? Is this really preventing me from just moving things slightly? Yeah, just put a tween in. Yeah. And I can keep adding into this if I want. But honestly, don't think for this bit character, it's not really gonna matter. Okay. And then let's see. We could have his head start here on one. I guess I can swap to different music. Yeah, I wanted to. Oh, I think I had it like based on the somebody utter. Was it based on the game? Like when I was doing the video games? I think I had it really low. But yeah, I think all these tracks are kind of quiet too. Didn't want to make it too loud either. The worst would be like if it's too loud and then it's like, her guys, you know. Let's see, it's either 3 or 4. What do I think? I think it's 3. Okay. Yes, okay. Another thing, I had to like manually resync the numbers, the frame counts. Because I wanted it to start on frame 1 here. And that means that this keyframe had its own idea of what the first number needed to be. So I had to like manually click a button to resync it. It's also, it's pretty quiet too. I did actually add some new music. I think I've heard it already. So a little Easter egg for you guys. Added some new music. Okay. So from here, let's go back to the Blender, because I don't think I added. Looks like I have him animate like that. So it's 78. Up. It has to be like, ah! Down 84. So this might be too slow. And then general back up at 90. Yeah, I can see like this might be too slow, so I don't need to go back to Blender and like retime those, because I'll just delete those keyframes, because those keyframes that I made were just for essentially creating keyframes to know what this guy's gonna do on its own, but not necessarily like actually moving in 3D space. So so what's gonna happen is I think it's gonna kinda exaggerate this. Kind of look at it and then maybe pause for a bit, and then I think I'm gonna have him like kind of like look kind of worried, like what happened, what's going on out here, and then he's gonna be like, oh. So, huh? What? Oh, what happened to my door? And then he's like, oh. So, let's get the basic keyframes in. Let's go up. Like, oh. Oh. So already that feels weird. We'll see. So let's change this to be, I have different frames. We can see this. So just trying to like change the rotation of these, maybe. These little white circles are like flash saying like, I don't think these symbols exist. Try again, buddy. I was like, what? What happened? And then he's just looking down. And he's like, oh, please. Oh no. Then he's like, the sign of like, I'll see if I can like close his eyes, maybe. So I do have these special ones. Let's see if these work. I'm just thinking about it. Thinking about what I want. Change the layer ordering there. So I have another mouth. I don't have this open, apparently. Interesting. Ah. Copy that. This would be a lot. Cause that's not there. I want to like open his mouth just a little bit. And apparently, it needs to separate this and this. To move his jaw down a little bit. Or you can break, I guess. Okay, cool. You'll go down. God. And when it's flipped of a character like this, because I had to flip them to have them face the other way. Once I move things around, it's actually opposite movements. So that's connected there. Ugh. Yeah, it's a real battle of just like, please, just let me. Duh. Yeah. You go. No, you. You unconnect. You get out of here. You become a line there. You go there. And you go there. Okay? And you go there. Black. Ah! And then it saved it immediately. I'm sure everyone else has like these kind of issues too, where it's just like, please just move the dot. What happened here? What's wrong with you? Oh god. Nope. It's got small gaps. Nope, still. As you can see, something is not connecting right. Gonna move everything over. Okay. So why does it still be in place? What? Ugh. I'm trying to use the sub. Oh, is it a different button? Okay. Nope, didn't select the right button there. Okay. I just want it to be like a little sigh kind of thing, and then close his mouth again. Means I moved it, which means I need to retime it. And then start doing in-betweens, then decide that some of the timings might be a little bit off. Gonna use onion skin, try and get an in-betweeny, kind of favor the last pose. Yeah, do one more time here. And then this in between is a little easier because I just want to move them over. And now because the head has its own internal timeline, guess what? I'm allowed to go back through the head timeline and reconfigure the timing without being able to just see what the timing here is. Because it's like, oh, I moved this one over, but now I got the frame here where I wanted it to be at the same time. I'll have to go inside the head and then not be able to see the body timeline to be like, oh, let me see what timing frame it needs to be to align it and make it synchronize. Because I can't. Because there are two different dimensions, basically, where now I have this separate, completely different timeline that has its own... Yeah. So we'll do a anticipation, at least just going the opposite way for a little bit. Oh yeah, I had the magnet on because I was trying to do the other thing. Oh, too many frames selected. Yeah, it's just so much push and pull with this. And it's like, just do it, please. Poof. Want another frame here. And then slow down here. Poof. And then poof. And then welcome, Mike. How you doing? And then just kind of so it looks like the timing is now going to be a little bit different. So, okay. It's not gonna start here. Oh yeah, my timings is probably gonna be desynchronized, so I have to select every frame here, press my sync button on my keyboard, and now it's got a different timing. Otherwise it would have been completely more off. Yeah. So I want the open mouth to start here. And then I need more time, otherwise it's gonna repeat. So that's good. This needs to start at this part now. Let me just line that up. And then we close the mouth. Here. Up. Because I didn't have the timeline long enough for the head. It resynced back to, it like re-looped back to the beginning. So I need more frames. Click outside. Resync the head timeline. And now it'll actually respect my timings inside there. And then I want the head and mouth to close on this frame. Easy peasy. Yeah. Yep. So I have this here, and then I would sync it like 120. So all we did, just kind of have him going like, huh? Meh. Oh. Kind of have him kind of like look over. One more time here, maybe. But you know what that means. Time to resync everything so it'll work again. So now my new here is here. Looks like it's just one frame. Yeah, that's good. And it's about 5 seconds for the whole shot, for like the entire. Okay, so now we know that this needs to be resynced just for the sake of the animatic and shots and the entire rest of the entire sequence of everything for this whole chapter. So we got this, and then none of this is gonna be slower. We're just gonna kind of look at it, and then he reacts a little bit. actually sooner. But this whole shot's longer now. I think we said 120. Yeah. Which just happens to be exactly 5 seconds. So let's check that out. Okay, that's actually one of the easier parts, actually. It's just going through and animating it. I'm good enough with this that I can use this now in my Blender animation. So we'll do this and make a sequence. Whoops. Not you guys. You don't get to see the sequence. Oh golly. I need to... I think I need to make a new... Do I need to make a new folder? I think I do. So this is now chapter 8. PNGs. And then make a subfolder for a shot. This is now shot 812. And then inside of this folder, I'm going to add a new folder for Farmer Snake. And then inside of this folder, we'll just save this. Brings up this dialogue now. Oops, there we go. So I went to my computer's file explorer and then said what folder I wanted it. And then it says it's going to be 123 frames, width and height, and a resolution. I've been making, I think, the height 1000. Just to be consistent. I don't know what it's gonna do now. I forgot what it's gonna do when it exports. Yeah, okay, yeah. Then I get a little progress bar. And we wait. And then, yeah. Stretch it a little bit. And then I can mosey over to Blender. Beep. And replace this animation, or a whole bunch of everything. I have to change the sticker pictures and then take these out and make sure that the animation, 3D animation works too. So I'll do that. So isolate it, and here's the material on the plane. So it's just a 2D plane. So I want to change this old chapter's animation with a different one. So more file exploring. So I'm going to delete that and then say open image. Let's see. Zippy. Chapter 8. Shot 812. Character Farmer Snake. And then I'm going to select every frame inside of here. That's a lot. Open image. And there we go. Okay. So here's now the new animation. Cyclic and refresh are important. If your tone turns off, I don't think the animation will actually play. Basic, principal, BSDF, material, very, very basic inside of Blender. There's all these other little things in here, and I think I turned some of these off. Blend mode, blend hash, alpha clip's probably fine. Shadow mode, opaque, clip threshold. I think I turn off like specular sometimes. I think sometimes this is like set up to something, some other value. So as long as it's set up to like 0, then it'll work. That is a quiet sound. Eh. See you later, Cookie. Have a good productive stream. that's about it. We're just kind of like going through the blender part and then kind of put it together. So that'll be the last thing. So yeah, thank you for hanging out then. Always enjoy it. Thank you. Okay. So we change this to be 120. And I think some of the timings here is going to be off. So right after that, here's I'm walking. And then basically just have them into position, and like that's actually it. Then we can just kind of get rid of these keyframes. And let's see what frame the walk-ins. 72. So I go to 72. And what do you know? It's this one. So obviously he's a little got that Muppet effect where it's like, I don't actually have legs. So what we can do is let's go Z location. And I think I just bring this guy up and then bring this guy down a little bit. And I can see that this guy's also a little hard. I can bring you down a little bit. Whoops. Ah! 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 Trying to bring it down. Make it flat. Okay. So what I did was at the beginning of this, mouse is slowly dying too. Oh no. Okay. Okay. Ah, move. And then that's the shot. Okay. So here's the whole composition. Okay, so what we can do is a little bit more tweaking. In that I can go at the beginning and just set his Z location here to just be under the ground, a little easier. I always find it a little bit easier to manage things when it's literally just under the ground. And then looks like it might be tweening between here. Yeah. So what I can do instead is set this to be constant. And then might have saw it on here, but on this side it's changed its trajectory now to be flat. So he'll consistently be at that Z location until pop. We change points basically. Have him then walk in. And then I'm just hiding them behind this barrel thing. And then he looks at the door. And then bonk. And then that's it. I think that's about it. What I would do for the rest of this would be checking to see if the camera is in a good place. I think it is. And then do some of the magic ball stuff. So that would be in here. So so the ball, yeah, my mouse keeps. Let's try the first one again. Let's try the first battery. Ugh. Maybe it's got just enough juice for not being part of it. Not being used for a while. Okay. So I want the ball. Here's my magic ball. And it's got a fancy shader on it. Where it has animation in it. And it moves a little bit, I think. Or at least it's got this. It's made out of a couple different balls, actually. So there's like different layers to it. Whereas like they're whatever this is called, like some sort of nesting kind of style, where there's all these different sizes of the balls, and then they have these transparent whips around, all these kind of like wispy things. And so these are stacked inside each other, and then there's different shaders to them. So if I try and find, what's it called for the material? It's not called magic. Is it called ball? Swirl ball. So I made this as an image in Flash and drew this picture, and then set it to be the texture. And then it has low opacity, I think. It's been a while. It's got a transparent BSDF, and so it's semi-transparent with that one. And then the other balls have the swirl ball, magic ball with no background. So they're using this texture, which itself has some low transparency, and then put that applied onto the balls. And then through modeling, I put them as separate balls inside each other. Like that. And so you get this ooh kind of effect. What I want for the animation here. So yeah, you get these kind of woos. Gotta split it so I can see the camera and just an outside view, and so I can make sure that this works. So I think the size of it, at least on the frame, I want it to kind of be a little bit better. Then we're gonna have like one. So I do that. Yeah. So I want it to kind of feel more like it's doing this. So I need to be at a better size. And then that can kind of last a little bit longer. Yeah, I don't want it to be too instant, so I want another keyframe in the middle where it's actually a little bit bigger. Just kind of like slow it down, basically. At a good speed there. Match up the size so that the scale doesn't actually change out of its ball size. That doesn't quite work as intended, so I'm just gonna have to play with that a little bit. So I like this frame. Q. This frame, this frame, this frame, that frame. I think this needs to be slowed down as well. So there's this frame where like it's kind of getting kind of cut off at the edge. So I'm wondering if I slow this down, that fixes that frame. That's good. It's going through there. For some reason it gets this again. So I think I want to change this frame so it's actually a different. Don't think I can. So what's this? This looks like that. and then it's gone. Feels like it kind of grows or something weird. Yeah, because it's... Well, it's in multiple layers is what I was saying. Is that it kind of goes through, and then you see this, which... I've seen this. That doesn't make sense. This needs to also be 183, maybe? There we go. It kind of grows bigger, so that's wrong. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Okay. So why does it seem like it's actually going through the farm here? And then we kind of speed up here. Maybe one more frame. Okay. And so what else will happen in this shot is it'll swap between the good house and the bad house. So problem is I have so many props that I actually find it easier to do it inside of After Effects or something. Don't remember exactly what I used, but I think I had like 2 versions. Like I rendered it twice. Because I found it easier than trying to like pick out like, I want this object, I want this object, I want this object. And it's like, try to select them and then like animating it was tricky. So it was easier to like use the entire group, which has all of this in it. And then that's the castle, that's the snake buildings, here's the left snake buildings. And then here's all of these. See, that doesn't carry everything I need. So there's still some props too inside of here, which has all of these parts. So I was like, either I just keyframe literally everything here, which kind of has their own animation as well. Or I found it a little bit easier to have this little camera here at the right here to either have it disable or render at render time. So like for here, we could start it with the good, the bad. Start with the bad, because that's where it's going to start. And then I would find a frame of where things change. And then right about here, I know that everything here at this point, like the ball's shrunk, so everything's changed. So all I would need to do is render out up to this point, this many frames of the bad version, and then I would then go through and go back up a little bit, because I noted this fence kind of gets changed earlier. So I would go back to like here where it's getting full, and then render out the good ones from this point onward. And then I would have 2 versions to then kind of mask through and figure out like what I want to do for the rest of the animation. So, yay. Okay. It would appear that I think I didn't do the door right. Or actually, yeah, it's backwards. So my bad. Whatever I just said, reverse it. Is that it's good at the start and then bad at the end. That's right. Can I rename this? That's when Farmer Snack walk in. So I put another marker, I guess, to remind myself which one actually starts. So mark it here for good houses, and then the ball to then change it to be a different one to now be bad houses. And then that walk goes out. Okay. And then that brings us out. Okay. Blah. And that's just for 1 5-second shot. That's at this point was already kind of already set up. Like I already had, you know, everything. You saw how much I already had done. You know, I didn't have to make this entire background, design the characters, figure out the story, you know. It was just kind of like, okay. Because I already had everything set up, it was just like, that's done. But for the one I shot at the very beginning with the dining hall, I still got some stuff to texture. I still don't have all the characters designed, modeled, and all that. So that'll take a bit. I decided whether or not I want to set dress this a little bit. Turn off the keyframes just so I can kind of design there. It's another little touch I like to do is like you can go through and kind of have the background look a certain way or something. Because now I know exactly where the camera is, so I can just kind of go through and have my mouse stop and then see if I can do this with my you can do it. Welcome back. Oh no. Mouse, you got this. No. I'm gonna use my tablet. Okay. Okay. Let's see if there's anything, if I render this frame. What's it gonna look like? It's good to make sure that the renders, you can preview it pretty easily. So I can see whether or not anything's clipping or anything else weird. I can go to one of those frames with the magic ball and see if anything is clipping or anything else there. Because obviously it's way easier to just do this and be like, ah, yes, something's wrong, rather than do an entire sequence render and being like, oh, whoops. You know, for that entire 200 frames, something was like flashing or strobing or clipping through something. So I was like, just gotta periodically make sure that everything's looking good. I can try and find this. So this is ruined. With this frame, we can just pop that up and see what this looks like. So what I'm seeing is that I think the good door house, everything's being doubled up, so let's see. Ah, yes, reformed, beep, that's what I wanted. So it was doubling up with the good and bad houses at the same time. There we go. Okay. See how that looks. I think I do a little bit of post-processing, but not too much. I like having things be looking good in this state. Like making sure that the color balance and everything kind of looks good. I usually don't really play with that too much in post-production. I usually like to just, get it to look okay and design it in a way, you know, I know what time of day it is, so I can have the houses and such not look like daytime such. So I can kind of see what this looks like and be like, okay, that's pretty good. Because I already made the early chapters and actually published the other chapters, like the chapter 6 where we see this house for the first time. I don't quite want to like go through and remodel things or really retexture things because I don't want it to be too inconsistent, but I could definitely look at this with new eyes and be like, yeah, some of the colors, like a lot of the wood sections is all kind of blend together. So maybe I want to alter hues or change things, or like maybe I could add a focus to the camera. That's something I can do. Or if I go to the meta camera, camera settings, I can add a depth of field. So you can see it's got really blurry. So if I set the focus object to be something, let's see which way does it go? So you can do that, or we can dial this through, and if I set the distance, so I'm hoping that I can try and get somewhere near the main focal point. I can set somebody aperture. This actually helps me see like what I'm focusing on. Like I'm focused on the barrel right now. And if I keep going, I can see right where I want it, about 30 to 40 meters away from the camera. Honestly, this is a pretty cool effect too. Where it's like one of those super close, like insect photography, where it's like you have a very, very narrow depth of field. Let's see. Well, welcome, Phantom. Yeah, it has been a while. It's one of these that we're calling there being leaderboard. Leaderboard's a YouTube thing, so that's like YouTube wide. For whatever reason, instead of like making better features on YouTube, they decided, hey, how about we have chatters compete each other? Let's have the chatters, compete for how many times they can spam in chat, basically, and be rewarded with a big crown next to their name. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's definitely a feature. Let's see if I can play with this a little bit. But basically I was just trying to see other features I can do to try and post-process inside of Blender, because Blender is very great. So if we try and render this out, you can already kind of tell how that's working. You already can see like it brings the focus, to right where the snake character it is. Let's see, I'm trying to zoom in a little bit. My mouse has been acting up. Yeah. You would try to better itself. I know. Yeah. But already this looks really good. There is some other stuff, some other post-processing stuff I could do. If we go to rendering, I think, or compositing, geometry nodes. What is it? VFX, video editing, rendering. Was that what video editing? Oh man, I think I was using a different one. Shading, no. Texture paint, UV editing. Might have to go to my other one to see what it was. Compositing? Was this it? That doesn't seem right. I remember there being somewhere where I could like have the rendered picture, and then I could do like Photoshop kind of filters on top of it. Might have to go to another file to see what of these it was, because I don't really use it too much. Because it's not rendering or compositing. Because obviously I would see something should be here. Yeah. So let's make things worse. Yeah. Yeah. I can show what animation we did today for you. And then I think we'll probably call it a day. After a couple hours, I got 5 seconds of animation. We started here. I'll just show the process again. All the way back out. So this is part of the new chapter that I'm working on. Chapter 8. Here's the animatic, the magic ball. Shrinks down from the good houses. It's like, oh, everything's nice. And the magic ball shoosh. And then the door was like not actually connected to the frame. It's like in chapter 6, like the door was just like not bolted on. And so the farmer snake is like, oh man, let me check what happened. Oh, the door fell. Yeah, great. And then we did the animation of the farmer snake coming out and then looking at it and being like, oh man. And then we put that animation inside a Blender and see if this loads. Boof, door fall, and then it comes out and it goes, ah, dang, my door fell, man. Yeah. And this is just a dumb gag. Like, it's not part of the overarching story, per se. But, it's just fun to have these little gags. They kind of, like, add on to it, so it's not just, like, the Derpy show the entire time. Which I wouldn't mind, but, it's kind of fun to have little side characters that don't really interact with the plot, but it's like, oh, okay, it kind of world builds a little bit to be like, I'd always usually just looking at the castle and the whole time, so like learning about that, so it's nice to see some other little things that happen around here anyway. But yeah, so there we go. That's 1 5-second shot done, pretty much, so we can call this one good. So I can say that this one's, I had a little plus to say good. Done. I think I already got this shot done set up, so let's see. So I animated this one way earlier, and then I got the 3D animation of it done too. I showed that a little bit earlier in the stream too. And then yeah, let's see. So it's coming along pretty well. How many shots are there? I don't remember. 44 shots is why I label things. So now I can say I got 44 shots. And I got one down, so less than 43 to go. And it's about 90 seconds, which I think now 12 is longer. So I thought I had the animatic, but I realized that I needed more time to have him kind of like walk up and do all this. So all of this, like I had like a whole second added just to have him react at a better time frame. So I think I need actually 2 seconds maybe. Yeah, I think my animatic was just like him kind of like popping out, and then that was the shot. Like that was it. So let's add a couple more frames to the main timeline. So I see that it ends here. So that's it. So frame 13 will start at shot 13 will start at frame 700. Yeah, because we added like 3 seconds or something. The final timeline count is now 93.5 seconds. So if I keep pushing each shot, then we'll see. I do want to like add more comedy passes. Gag it up a little bit. So we'll see. Welcome back again. But yeah, because I'm in college now, I guess we can go to toaster time. We're pretty much done. Content-wise. So, I've had my first week of college, actual classes, but not a full week because of Labor Day. So, I'm still haven't gone to like one class yet. I think I have like 6 classes, so it is a lot. A little bit different from what I expected. Just reading the course syllabus and stuff is like, oh, even just reading those is like, oh, we're actually learning that instead, or like that's the main thing. Okay. Let's see. So I guess I could pull them up just for my own reference, real quick. So I'm at the video game college, and I'm signing in to see, just like I remember myself here, logging in. Okay. So yeah, let me count. Yeah, 6. Okay. Let's go through them. So, the one I haven't done yet is a college general studies one, so I'm not sure exactly how that'll go. I don't know if it's going to be like junior high or high school where you have like a homeroom, because that's, I don't know, that's a very American sounding thing where you get a homeroom where you just get a classroom and you just kind of hang out, and you can either hang out or do your homework or kind of study or whatever. You just get some time in class to, at school basically, but not doing a class work. So I don't know if it's going to be educational or if it's going to be more homeroom style. So that's the only one I haven't been to yet. So we'll see on Monday how that'll go. See you, Judd. Thanks for all the comments and such. Always a pleasure. So let's see. I have 3 fine art classes. Well, actually, it's only really 2. I thought the Art 1000, sounds like the simplest, most basic, thing of Art 1000. It's not actually drawing art. It's actually art history. And so the professor's a little funny. He's like, yeah, we only got a couple weeks and we got to learn like 6,000 years of art. So we're going to have to cherry pick and kind of pick out very specific arts. Won't be able to teach you thousands and thousands of years, which have millions of artwork. So won't be able to cover all of it. But we'll try and take some motifs and kind of themes and be like, do some quizzes on like, can you tell what order these paintings came out? But also don't worry about the exact date or, some very specific stuff about them. Just kind of get the general gist of it. A lot of these classes, I guess, are all kind of like the first beginner classes, They don't want to scare the high school graduates to be like, oh no. So a lot of it was like kind of geared towards everyone there is a high school graduate, and it's like I'm the Adam Sandler picture where it's like I'm the adult in kindergarten, where it's like, yeah, I'm like 10 I'm like 10 years older than all of you. So it's kind of like, okay. But no, it's fine. Yeah, it's definitely not kindergarten, but it's, we'll be playing with charcoal, and gouache, so we'll be finger painting. A lot of the stuff is like very basic stuff of like, I've taken art classes in community college, so it's like I already understand a lot of the vocabulary and, done projects on my own, obviously. So it's kind of like, can anyone tell me what a line means? It's like, yeah. It's a stroke between like 2 points in space or whatever. I'm sure it'll get more complicated and more complex later. But at least for now, it's like that kind of, what is value? And it's like, okay. But I did have some hands-on with a couple of the two fine art classes where actually having professors, kind of teach the physicalness of how to draw. Where it's like, yeah, don't try and pet, your drawings, when you try to draw. And petting is like when you're physically trying to like, you try to like make like one line or arc and you kind of go, it's like petting a dog or something where like you're repeatedly kind of going over the same kind of line, or you're consistently trying to put like 10 scratches into making like one line. And it's like, yeah, don't do that. Feel confident, like make a big from the shoulder like gesture, like a big arc, like shoo, and just do it. Don't have confidence. So that stuff was fun. Did some in-class work, and I think I have a homework I still got to do of drawing some still life. So, yeah, the Art 1100's the basic one, and then the Art 1200's gonna be taking that and adding colors and values and dimensions, I guess, with shadows and lighting. But the 1100's more like getting shapes and proportions and silhouettes and perspectives, and yeah, 1100 is gonna be more CAD style, where it's like you're trying to make an engineering kind of approach. Where it's like, can you make this whole scene, room in perspective? Can you make a robot? Can you make a treasure chest? It's trying to liven it up to be like, oh, okay, that's an interesting topic, and I will trying to do that. So we'll see. I've only had like a couple hours, with them, so. And then yeah, the art history, the two arts, fine arts, haven't done the English is another thing. I thought would just be more, like a high school book report kind of style, where it's like, it kind of is, where it's like, we'll just be reading a book, and then you gotta do a 6-page over analysis of like every line and read between the lines, kind of style. And the professor will say like, oh, you didn't interpret the author's message correctly, and then you fail. So I've actually had a college class like that, where I must have misinterpreted a motif or something, or didn't explain it exactly the way the professor wanted the motif of what the author intended, and so I got a bad grade. Even though I explained my reasoning and, explained everything about it, where I was like, I guess it's this, Sorry, I interpreted an artistic written thing incorrectly. So, oh well. But this one seemed to be a little bit more chill. With this video game college one, it seems to be more, yeah, just kind of do your best. I don't know. Kind of like write a paragraph at least of what you thought about it, either analytically or creatively about it. Did you like how the story and characters were, the design did, what'd you think about them? Or did you like the format and media it is? Because we'll be doing a lot of multimedia experiences where it'll be let's read a book. Oh, but also let's listen to a radio play, and let's listen to other types of radio dramas. Let's read comic books. So we'll be skimming through, he said. Don't read every panel, don't read every word. Try to get the gist of like how the storytelling is with Batman comics. So I haven't really read Batman comics, so I've watched maybe like, I don't even think I've really sat and watched a Batman movie though. Yeah. And then, well, I have read a manga, and I watched a 60s Adam West show. So that's, I don't know. So, he gave us access to a whole bunch of, like, comic book files. I guess in, like, a comic book reader format CBR. So, I'm excited to do that, I guess. That'll be in the future. So, but yeah, for this week, we had to listen to a radio drama presentation. Almost like a masterpiece theater kind of style, high budget for a radio play thing of Sophocles, and Antigone, and Antigon, and Antigon, which is like one of the Greek tragedies plays. So he gave us a audio file to listen to, and I was like, I'm not gonna understand this, so I brought up the script of it, but I found out quickly that I found the wrong translation. I was listening to one that had semi more modern language to it, and then I found a written text of it that was in like a different different format. It was written in more Shakespearean style, where they use like thous and thous and henceforths, and but I was listening to, yeah, I don't know about that. That seems quite wrong with what you were saying there, dear sir. You know, and I was like, oh. So I guess it was a different translation of it. So still got the gist of it, and the experience of it was kind of fun. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm excited for doing more. Got to do my homework. Got to make sure, double check I did all my census, and check in 3 places for my email. So that's fun. Yeah, we got to use a dashboard way to find what the class assignments are, and then if I want to talk with the teachers, or at least still be posting a bunch of things, posting the assignments on Microsoft Teams, and then I have a round cube email that's more kind of, I don't know, it's more kind of general, but sometimes the teachers might be randomly in there, but I think mostly it'll just be on Teams and the dashboard stuff, the school one. But yeah, it's a lot to take in, a lot of like softwares, and a lot of prep work and preparation stuff to like even get the ball rolling. So but yeah, I'm excited for more. Excited for an actual full week next week of classes. Yeah. All that to say, I'm tired. Guess I'll eat and rest a bit, and then do some art, I guess. I'll have to do some still life, and draw a couple pictures of those. Do that at home and find some random stuff to draw. So, but yeah, I think that's about it. My mouse is dead again. I'm gonna have to replace my batteries that I have down here with a battery that should be charged. Swap this out. Sorry. This one seems to be less charged. It is. Let me roulette here to change this to be a different one. Let's try the first one. Yeah, that's power. The other one wasn't even on. The only way to close the stream is with my mouse. So hang on. Let me quickly. Goodbye, guys. Thank you. Before my mouse dies. Yes, see you next week. Thank you for all the good lucks there. And yeah, hope to see you again next week when I do, I'm not sure, maybe more movie. We'll see. So yeah, Thank you guys. All right, take care. Bye bye.